Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of What Anna Said podcast. If you joined us on the last episode, we talked about Christmas for us in the year of 2014 and all that year brought us. And we decided to go ahead and reflect on all the other Christmases that we've had in the past. Some Christmases that we've had in the islands and how we spent Christmas now. So we wanted to dive into that, especially we're in the Christmas season. And so every time we get around this time of year, it's always my favorite. And I know my kids, they are waiting on me to put up the Christmas tree. I have been slacking this year. We have a tradition in our family, and that tradition is that on Thanksgiving Day, after you're done eating and everything, everything has been done for the day, you're supposed to put up your Christmas tree. And so we are 2 weeks past Thanksgiving. So I'm slacking. So we need to put up our Christmas tree this year.
Yes, I believe that was the most exciting time for us as kids growing up, was knowing that on Thanksgiving Day, after we've had our meal and got to rest our bellies, we got to put up our Christmas tree and hang up our ornaments and just be in the Christmas spirit. And it was such a fun time and exciting time.
Yes, and that's something that we actually started, that tradition, once we came here to the States.
Yes.
But when we were younger, when we were children, we actually didn't put up Christmas trees. I don't recall a time back in the islands where we were putting up trees, the Christmas tree, and stringing the lights and all that stuff that went into it.
So speaking of traditions, I know back in Samoa, we did Christmas programs. That's the memory that I have, is getting together and doing the song. What is it? We did Go Tell It on the Mountain. Yes. And Christmas Isn't Christmas.
Right.
What's the actual title of that song? I love that song.
You know what? I don't know if I ever knew the title of that
song. How about you hum us or sing us?
Christmas isn't Christmas. Well, join in.
Till it happens in your heart. So give your...
straight to the chorus. I was like, you just skipped the whole verse.
I sure you did. But I loved having
it's a beautiful
the
song.
Christmas programs and looking forward to practicing that over and over. Because I know Go Tell It on the Mountain, we had to run through that multiple times. And
you had to make sure your march was Go Tell It on the Mountain. And it was,
we had to go tell it on the mountain.
You had to.
Jesus Christ.
We were on a mountain telling it.
Yes. What a beautiful memory.
What a beautiful memory.
House. Because it was up on that hill. So it just, right when you said mountain, I just pictured that tall hill.
It took you right back to our home in our living room.
Yes.
Practicing for that week, because Christmas Day was a day where we got together with our family in the living room in our house, and we practiced for days our special song, and to go along with the Christmas story that we would talk about on that day of. So we made sure that we knew those lyrics, we knew the hymns, we knew the actions. And the funniest thing is because we are presenting it to the people who are teaching us the song.
Right. Yes. But I love that. And are there any other memories that you could...
In Samoa?
Yes.
In Samoa, Christmas was just that. It was a time to hang out with your family, to spend that time just cherishing everyone around you, reflecting on the year that just had passed and the year that we're moving into. It wasn't a lot of gift giving. There wasn't a lot of emphasis on that back in the islands. It was mainly just the emphasis was on spending time together.
Right. And the true reason.
Yeah, the true reason for the season. Jesus, the birth of our Savior, Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and just making sure that we knew, the love that he demonstrated as he laid his life for us, so that we could have a life and live it so abundantly and cherish that life together with our family and friends. So that we really focused a lot on that, especially in Samoa.
I'm sure it was way less stressful
Oh,
than it is right now as we try to prepare Christmas for our children.
Oh, yes, for sure. Because here in the States, we see our neighbor across the street has their lights up, and my kids are asking, "Oh, Mama, do we have lights too? Are we going to put our lights up?" And, just to want
Well,
to
you
do that
better
for your
now.
kids. So I better now. And luckily, we did this year. So we actually have Christmas lights in our front yard for the kids.
Speaking of Christmas lights, I know in Fiji, so we moved, we talked a little bit about where we stayed, where we came from. We were in Samoa, but we were also in Fiji.
Yes.
And so speaking of the lights.
You want to talk about lights? So in Fiji, there is actually a holiday that precedes Christmas, and that holiday begins towards the end of October and it goes until November. So that is a holiday of Diwali, the Diwali celebration.
That's right.
Yes, and in Fiji, there's plenty of Indians in Fiji. They make up half of the population, if not more, even to the point where their language is recognized in the island of Fiji is one of the island's languages. But they celebrate Diwali, which is a festival of lights, and it is supposed to be a festival of the victory for light over darkness.
Yes.
And what they do is they completely light up the entire island. I mean, lights
Whole
everywhere.
Town, yep.
The whole entire city is just lit up at night, brighter than the Christmas tree. Everything has lights, and
Yes.
it's a huge celebration. They have sweets and candies. That's one thing.
I think that's one thing that I could remember are the sweets. Remembering those sweets, because I know we didn't do, once again in Fiji, didn't set up a Christmas tree or expect gifts under a tree. That wasn't the expectation that we had as children back in Fiji.
Yes. I was too young to recall any of those memories, but I do know that those sweets, those Indian sweets, they were really good. I do remember those.
Right. So for Christians, it felt like you were late to the party because everyone already started celebrating. The entire island, everyone has sweets. There's lights everywhere. So for us to come in and put up a Christmas tree was nothing in comparison to what the island was already doing. But not just that, but we didn't. It was for Christians, they didn't want to identify with this pagan holiday because
Interesting.
Diwali is a Hindu, in the Hindu religion, that's what they celebrate. And if I am saying anything wrong, for all my friends and family in Fiji and those that do celebrate Diwali, if I am not explaining this correctly, please forgive me. This is all from memories only. And yes, of when we were younger as kids.
I know that there was also something that came after Christmas, and that was the Hibiscus Festival.
Oh man. Hibiscus Festival goes hand in hand with lamb chop barbecue.
Yes, and Kim seems to remember food, but not Christmas. So I need to know, do you remember any of the food that they had at this Hibiscus Festival?
The only food I can recall is the coconut cream bread.
You know what?
Hey, those are bomb.
The bakery in Fiji. So when we lived in hot cross buns on Easter, when we were in Fiji, we lived down the street from a bakery, and our family would frequently, when we were able to walk to this bakery and get some fresh bread or some fresh hot cross buns, and there are these little buns and they're filled with cream and sugar, and it's so simple, but it's just so delicious. And this podcast is turning into something else because now we're gonna move.
Now we're talking about food.
Now I'm getting hungry.
Okay.
Going back to the Hibiscus Festival, do you remember the Ferris wheel?
I do. So the Hibiscus Festival in Fiji is just a celebration for everyone towards the end of the year, and they have a Ferris wheel, they have games, they have food vendors there, and before you even get to the Hibiscus Festival, as you're driving down the street, you can just smell the smell of that lamb chop barbecue.
That lamb chop barbecue, nothing
comes close.
Yeah.
Nothing
even comes close.
And
you got to go to Fiji for those lamb
chops. You have
chops.
to go straight to Fiji. You can't remake it. We've tried.
Yes.
We tried. You have to go to Fiji.
I can smell it right now.
Find anyone on the side of the road who's selling a $5 plate.
Ooh, yes.
It is so good. It is so good.
I think we need to go to Fiji soon.
I think so. And and so the Hibiscus Festival was so special because families didn't have access to this type of, fun where they had like a carnival, and so the Hibiscus Festival
That was it.
brought that to us. Yeah. So I really enjoyed that. I mean, Fiji, as soon as you hit October in Fiji, the entire rest of the year is just a party. Because even as we go into New Year's in Fiji, I remember that you would have people on the side of the road banging on those cans, the cracker cans. So they have these cracker bins in Fiji, and they would bang on them empty and just make music with them. I mean, the streets have music. There's women putting baby powder on your face, as lovingly, not just not just showing up and throwing baby powder at you, but they have certain things that they do in the spirit of celebration.
I love that. That's a beautiful memory
I know.
for you to remember that and experience that.
It was a fun time. I mean, Fiji is home, and we really enjoyed all the time that we had there, that we spent there, and all those memories that were being made. But they know how to party. They know how to have a good time. The entire island is jolly, and that's not from the kava. That's from the celebration and being together with family.
Speaking of family, I know that we also had memories in Tonga.
That's right.
We were still pretty young. And Kim, do you have any recollection of your time in Tonga during Christmas time?
Not during Christmas time, but whenever we did go to school, but that's off topic.
That is okay. Anna and I can definitely share with you our memories of Tonga. Growing up, we stayed in this house that was by the gas station, and we called it the
Fale pausa.
I do remember that.
Yeah. So there are so many memories that come flooding.
A lot of great memories.
Yes, and I'm sure that you'll remember those memories.
Oh, yeah.
And before we were staying at that location, we're staying at another home, and I vividly remember watching this cartoon on the TV, and it was about Santa Claus visiting these homes. When all the children went to sleep at night, Santa Claus was making his rounds. And I noticed something when I was watching that video. I noticed something when I was watching that movie.
That they all had chimneys.
That's right. They all had chimneys. Guess what we didn't have at our home?
A chimney.
That's right. So as a little kid, I remember thinking, man, why am I going to cry?
I don't know, but
I just remember thinking as a little child, wow, Santa Claus is not going to come to our house because we don't have a chimney. I'm watching Santa Claus on this cartoon going home to home, climbing down the chimney, climbing back up, leaving the gifts under the tree for these children. They're waking up in the morning and they're seeing these gifts. So I never thought that would happen. I mean, granted, in Tonga, that's not something that our family really spent time.
Especially in Tonga, just the story of Santa Claus. I mean, that's not something that everyone talks about or puts, believes in or anything like that. So for you as a kid to watch that and think about that, that's you by yourself. I don't.
That is right.
Just
really
kidding.
is.
But I mean, that's valid for a little kid to see those cartoons because those cartoons are relatable to everyone. And for a little girl in the island
Not for
of
a little
Tonga,
Tongan girl.
a little Tongan girl, to see the chimneys. I mean, I don't know if you ever seen a chimney in the island.
Wouldn't even know how to work a chimney. So,
but that's valid for you
Yes.
to think, well, how is Santa Claus going to come to my house if we don't have a chimney?
yes. And what's crazy is we probably spent other Christmases in that other house where I watched this cartoon. So now we're in the house at the Fale Pausa. And I remember we were coming home. I think it was late at night. My memory is a little foggy, but I vividly remember there being a bag of presents on the door, like hung on the door. And I thought to myself, duh, of course Santa Claus will visit my house because he doesn't need a chimney. He can show up in any way that he chooses to get to that child's home. And so I remember being so happy and being so excited that we had gifts on that door.
And You thought Santa had to go through a chimney when he could just walk up to your door.
Yes, exactly. Santa Claus
Why
needs
was
an
Santa Claus doing too much?
elaborate, right? If you can walk through a door, I mean, walk up to a front door, why do you have to go down chimneys?
I guess Santa Claus was looking for the Christmas tree you didn't have. And so he came outside and hung it on the door.
I guess that's crazy to me that they would put out a cartoon depicting this chunky man.
You know what? They weren't thinking of you in your small island when they made that cartoon.
No. But that's just a special memory to me in Tonga.
No, it was so
Do
special.
you have any memories?
Well, I just want to point out that Santa Claus was our Auntie Lisa, my mom's sister, Auntie Lisa, who was Santa Claus for us many times, and
in many ways too.
in many ways, and she was Santa Claus on that Christmas for you. That's so special for you as a kid to see that you got to receive gifts also.
So thank you.
Thank you, Santa Claus. Thank you, Auntie Lisa.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have a special memory in Tonga. I remember being there as we turned the new millennium.
That's right. You know, speaking of the new millennium, I vividly remember holding a camera in my hand. And I just remember when I was holding the camera, there was a banner. I think there was a lot of banners.
There was many. And the reason you're holding a camera is because that was such a special moment in history to document. Everyone was documenting this time. I mean, there was banners all over this island when we were in Tonga, and there were people even flying into Tonga, trying to get there in order to bring in the new day, because we're returning from 1999 into the 2000s.
That's right. Travelers all over the world were trying to come to Tonga because Tonga is the first to see the new sunrise in 2000.
Yes, Tonga is close to the equator, and so they were the first to see the sun. And I remember at this time that there was a huge block party that the island was having, and this is the first time that Tonga had a block party. So this was huge for everyone coming in to celebrate and commemorate this turning into the 21st century and going into the year 2000. It was,
I mean, what a time it was to be alive at that time, to get to experience bringing in the new from the 1900s to the 2000. I know that was such an exciting moment for everyone.
It was. Everyone around the world was celebrating. Some people were scared. Some people were fearful, of Y2K. You remember it was a mixture of emotions all around the world, not just in the island, but all around the world. There was fear because of something new. There was something about the computers not being able to recognize 00, or it was a whole thing.
Yeah.
The only thing I knew was excitement, because we were excited.
Right, that's the feeling that you got.
That's the feeling I had, and that's
energy.
Right, that was the energy in the island. I mean, they had good vibes, block party, so it was a huge celebration. So when I think about Christmas in Tonga, that's something that really sticks out. Is, wow, we got to be there for the new millennium and bring in the new day.
And what a great treat it was for us to say that we got to see that first sunrise.
Exactly.
Into the new millennium.
That's right. I mean, I guess we're just really cool.
I think so. But moving on to Christmas now, Kim, would you like to share what our family does?
Yes. So our Christmas now, we get to have 2 Christmases. On Christmas Day, we spend Christmas with our own immediate families, and then we get together in the second week of January, and we get to have our Christmas all together as a family with our parents, with my siblings, their kids. And it's just such a wonderful and exciting time. My kids right now, they keep asking me, Mama, when are we having Secret Santa? When are we going to have Secret Santa?
Yes.
And I have to keep telling them, wait 1 more month, because it's not this month. It's going to be next month.
That's right. So on Christmas Day, we get to celebrate with our own family. So with my husband, my children, we get to take that time together to just spend quality time and just take time out of the busyness of life and just reflect on everything that has happened, and how grateful we are to be here at the at the end of the year with everyone. And then we do have our second celebration, which is my favorite celebration. We all look forward to it, not just the children, because we do have Secret Santa. We come together, we have games, we eat good food, and we really just celebrate family.
So the way that we do our Secret Santa is we'll have a designated gift giver that will stand there and pass the gifts, and then we'll go one by one, and they'll sit in the hot seat and open their gift up in front of everyone.
And I just love this tradition. I know when we all first got married and had our own families, this wasn't in place yet.
No,
I don't know if you guys remember who came up with the initial idea.
it was me.
Yes, and I
Was
remember it was.
Thank
It
you.
was Kim. Kim
Thank you,
had
Sally.
said, "Hey, let's do Secret Santa." I remember thinking at the time, I was like, "This is too much. You're doing too much. I don't think we have
You're
time
doing too much. Calm down.
But we all made it happen.
We did.
And now it's become a tradition for us to do
It
it
has.
every single year. And we do it in the month of January.
Exactly. Kim always has really great ideas. And this was an idea that she had that we turned into a tradition. So you wanting to bring everyone under the same roof, which can be difficult because holidays and things like that, it's so much fun. But it is a lot to get everyone
It is.
together, wrangle all your kids, especially when you had babies and Sally had babies.
They were all very young.
And so getting together
a
was
lot of wah, wah, wah.
right. Getting together almost felt like a chore.
It was pretty crazy.
But it
Yes.
turned out to be our favorite tradition. We love getting together. So thank you, Kim, for having such a good
Yes.
idea, and
Thank you,
now
sisters.
letting it be something that we look forward to brings us so much joy.
Oh yes, and just a little backstory. I'm not sure if you guys remember, but the reason why we have it on the second week of January was because the first year we decided to do our Secret Santa, and the year after that, my kids were always sick and we were in the hospital during Christmas.
You're twins.
Yes. So by the time that they got better, it was the second week of January, and we just kept it there since then.
That's right. That is why we have it on the second week of January. I completely forgot that's why we had it at that time, because you guys were always having your yearly visit
Yes.
at the hospital and
Yes.
your boys.
Those first couple of
Right.
years.
That is right. That is why we spend Christmas together on the second week of January, because of that time when you and the boys were always having to spend your holidays in the hospital, because that's also the time of, everyone getting sick. And so
Oh yeah, for those first couple of years. Now that they're 5, they've been their immune system's a bit stronger. So luckily, we haven't had any hospital visits this year.
you know what? Wherever we spent our Christmas time, whether it was Fiji, Tonga, and Samoa, even the traditions that we have here, a tradition that you started, Kim,
Yes.
all those memories and all those times, I have cherished them so much. Christmas may look different all around the world, but I think that the most important thing here is that you're spending that time with the people that you love and that love you back just as much.
For sure, Anna, because I know my kids always look forward to spending time with your kids and Sally's kids and with their grandparents. And that's really what matters most, is spending time with our loved ones.
Well, your kids have really already learned the most important lesson that they will ever need. I mean, that's the most important thing. And the reason for the season, the birth of our Savior, Jesus Christ, I mean, he demonstrated that for us when he sent his only son and laid his life down so that we could have that experience with our family, so that we can have life abundantly and cherish that life together with the people that matter to us. And I'm sitting here with two people that matter a lot to me. And so every Christmas with you guys is the best. Whether we're in Tonga, with Sally waiting for her Santa Claus, or we're in Samoa practicing Go Tell It on the Mountain, or we're in Fiji eating sweets and waiting for the Hibiscus Festival, it has all been a joyful time. And I think that's what it's really about.
So this Christmas, we hope that those that are tuning in on our podcast will do the same with their families or their loved ones and really cherish that moment together. we on our last podcast we talked about Christmas and loss, and we talked about those that are going through Christmas right now and having to gather around a table and see that your loved one's missing because they're no longer here.
Right.
So we hope that you get to tell those around you just how loved they are, just how
Yes.
special, how valued they are, and really enjoy this season because you never know
You never know.
what's going to happen tomorrow.
And
just like we never knew
We did it.
what was going to happen that day.
Right. And a sad Christmas does not stop the joy of the Christmases to come or the joy that is to come. So whether your family is gift giving, whether your family gets together and just spends time together, focusing on the joy of the season, however it is that you're celebrating the season, we wish you a Merry Christmas. And we thank you again for spending your time with us. We'll catch you on the next episode of What Anna Said podcast. Bye.
Bye.